Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar. It's awesome to have everyone here. This webinar is actually on, IQ Link. It's about expanding your print business without expanding your factory. It's a module I'm really passionate about because, for years now, working with printIQ, I can just see so much advantages with printIQ customers being able to become part of more like a close-knit family and be able to work together. So I guess what we're going to show you today is a streamlined demo. It's not going to take up a huge amount of time, which is good, but it will give you some really good insight into how you can potentially use the module. So just a brief run through the agenda. I'll just introduce you to everyone on the call, on the webinar. You probably know us anyway, why IQ Link exists as a module, how it works, and customer examples and use cases, and then questions and answers. So myself, I'm pretty much sure I've met everyone on the webinar today, but I'm Rachel, the General Manager for printIQ ANZ. Got Justin Webber, Sales Manager of ANZ, and Chris Mort from New Zealand, our Technical Product Manager. So thanks, guys.
Great. Welcome. Thanks, Rach. It's good to be here.
So handing over to Justin. So we're going to do a bit of a tag team effort on today's webinar. So Justin, if you don't mind covering a few of these slides and then pass over to Chris as we go.
Yeah, sure. So those of you who have sat on one of our webinars before, you've probably seen this slide, but it's just a quick slide and important to show you the growth of the printIQ team. So printIQ's now been around for 25 years. We've got more than 56 staff now around the world in three regions, ANZ, North America, and the UK. And we've now got 300 plus clients around the world. So we're continuing to develop the product and continuing to grow our customer base. Next slide.
Yep.
So why have we created Link? So Link has been created so that when customer demand exceeds your in-house production capabilities, we've created this Link module so you can outsource work a lot easier to other printIQ customers and remove the manual outsourcing delays and errors.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide. So what is Link? So Link is the smarts behind the scenes that connects the IQ users. You can then quote in real time, so you're not having to wait for a outsource partner to get back to you. You can just log on through IQ, get your quote in real time. Quotes quicker to the customer. So you can automate the outsource, so automating of the orders and the artwork to go through once you've decided on who that outsource partner is going to be. And then you can receive live updates, so you can get live status updates back from that supplier, so at all times where that job is at.
And that's what I guess we're going to. Chris will go into a deep dive. So this is just a bit of a background on the module, guys, and then we're going to hand over to Chris to show you some real life stuff happening. So, yep.
So who's it perfect for? So it's perfect for customers that are wanting to expand their business without the cost. Or businesses or suppliers wanting to expand revenue streams, and it's just a smarter, automated way of working. And Chris is going to take us through that. So I'll hand over to Chris now, and he can take us through the demo.
Sure.
All right, thanks, Justin. Thanks, Rach. Just for the demo for everyone, I'll just start to share my screen and save everybody's faces and turn my face off while I do this. So we'll just come in and I'll
Stop share, Chris.
Yeah, someone can let me share. Okay, so to follow on with everybody's conversations so far, I'll just show a couple of different scenarios of ways that we can utilize IQ Link and the connections that we have to date within the system. It's something that over the years, like I've been here for 12 years, so we've been doing Link from the start of that, but over the years we're just adding bit by bit into it as we go, and there's more changes probably coming along the way that will assist in making this a little bit more streamlined for everybody in the future as well. So it's good functionality to be able to have. So all right, so I'm on our landing page here, and I assume we can all see me.
Mhm.
So I'm just coming in, and I'm just going to start to do a quick quote. Choose a customer. And in my simplified setup, I have some examples set up. So we're just going to utilize these IQ link ones to start. So in this mock-up, I produce a lot of stuff, but there's some things I don't do in-house myself. So I'm going outside to different suppliers for those. So when we click into link, what I've got set up here is a couple of different products based on different suppliers actually. So I've got someone in mind who does my labels for me and someone who I utilize for my wide format work. So I've just grouped them all together under link at this stage, but you can make them up and to categorize them however you wish. But for us here, we've just got them all set up to start. So I'm just going to click on to the label stuff. And when I go into it, it just looks like standard quick quotes or simplified, whatever we're used to calling them. But at this point, what it's actually doing is it's pulling the information based on what your supplier has set up. So as long as your supplier's product is available for you to be able to use it and utilize it, then everything that we're doing here and we're showing is our supplier's system. So we're using and seeing our supplier's stocks come into the mix in here. Their processes, which could be very different to our processes that we've got for any internal work that we produce, and any of their operations that they've got. So then I just populate these standard things apply. We can see the quantity on hand information doesn't really come in because it's not our stock, it's more their stock, so we don't need to demo and show that info. But when we hit get price, we're going out to their system and we're actually creating a quote right now in their live site. And once that pulls back, then we're getting their price, which is could be a preset price for us, and fixed pricing coming into play. So we're getting that in as our cost price. Once we've got our cost price in play, then we're able to add our own additional markups over top of that to send this quote off to the end user. So all of this information is purely preset based on their roles, their options, their quantities that they can offer. So again, we'll still pull in multiple quantities.
So Chris, just whilst we're here, so the pricing that's pulling through, is this so obviously if I was a customer coming on and ordering from here, the price the customer's getting, is that the agreed price between the supplier, or is there a margin and a markup? Like where is this, is it the price?
So the price we see here is pretty much the price that we're going to be giving to our end client. So
Okay.
I'll just come into the next lot of tabs and we'll go into view the pricing details to just be able to show some of that. So when we look here, it's a dumbed down list for those that are used to seeing printIQ from this view, right? Where we're used to seeing a full pricing grid. It's got our printing, our stocks, our processes and operations all coming into play and all the costings and everything that go with it. But with the outsource work and with IQ Link, we don't have any of that and need any of that. So you don't need to be setting up a press and these operations. You're driving this completely from that supplier, and their costings are coming in as our 514 at this point. So when we hover over here, we get to see that we've got prices coming into play and it's getting marked up by a 15%. and then I'm marking up again my wholesale price. So I've got additional markups. So I'm really taking the cream here, to be fair, and charging it a few $100s more than what it's going to cost me. But that's all that information is driven based off the pricing's based off my price list rules. So anything that I've got extra set there is coming into play. But the cost for me to get this from my supplier is that 514 value. And so their quote, and we can go in and have a look at that in a second, will be set for 514 plus tax and shipping. So just go back into that quote and we'll just take this through to our standard checkout screen. And so for normal people who are used to using IQ, all of this information inside of things is very familiar, right? There's nothing to look at, nothing really changes in this space apart from everything being behind the scenes. So once we know that we're looking at single address, we've got our shipping, any shipping information that we've got coming into play, all of our addresses, all of this information is preset here, which is obviously set up from my customer. We'll be pushing all of that detail over to the supplier system once we've accepted this quote and converted it into a purchase order, uploaded it and converted it into a purchase order. So before I accept this, I'll just pop in to another tab that we've got here. And if I just click into quoting, so this is the label site that we were connected to. So if I have a look here, we can see that I've got a few cans because got it free, but I've created quote 1645. And that's got the two products on it, exactly how I've got that demonstrated inside my customer's resale site. So we've got the sell prices of 503 plus the 1014 is giving us the $514, and that's the pricing that we've had coming in on the price list. So we know that we've got the pricing correct, and now we want to just go through and convert this into an order. So let's set what we need. We need to set any required questions. So these questions are being pulled through from the suppliers as well. So we'll just set what we're after. Confirm.
Bruce, while that quote's completing, I should have said at the start that if there's any questions and answers down the bottom of your screen, you've got a little Q&A, so you can just type your question in there. And at the end of Chris's demo, we'll go through these questions and answer them.
Thanks, Justin. I'm just going to upload some artwork. And once my artwork's uploaded, I'll confirm this and we'll go and have a look at the job side of things. Now, while it's confirming, because of what I've uploaded art, based on a few other configurations as well, I've got my site designed and set up to be able to automatically create the outsource purchase order. So when it generates the confirmation now, it's also going in and going to be accepting the quote inside my supplier system, and it'll be uploading art against that as well. So if we come in from here, we're going to have a look at our job. We're going to see that I've already got a purchase order set here. So when I have a look, we've got reference to that quote number. And when I come into my details, I've got everything set. The email's been sent. I've got a job reference number here of 718. So this job reference is with the job number that exists inside the supplier system. So I'll just close out of this for now. And we'll just come back to my label site. So if I refresh this now, at the moment it's set to awaiting acceptance, but if I reload this, then this quote's been fully accepted. We knew that it was quote job number 718. So in my label site, the first time they need to pick it up, so for the supplier's end, they need to just be able to come in. They've got a job landed on their orders or their all jobs board, depending on which one they favor and use. And it's sitting in there at a status of pre-press ready. So as far as my supplier is concerned, nobody's touched it in their system. They're now able to pick up a job that's been automatically come through, transferred over. They can come into it, and we'll just zoom tube this. It'll be the fastest job in history coming into town. We can see my artwork. We can see the questions that I answered. And we're into manufacturing mode. So as far as my job is concerned, we're going to push this through and we're going to say that we're done. We've marked this job as finished production. And we're now at the point that, as far as my supplier is concerned, they're able to now just deliver this off to either back to myself or my end user. So once they've delivered the job, I'll save that. This job is marked as complete. Supply can be done. Their hands off. But back in my reseller system, I'll just refresh this screen and we'll see what has changed in here. So my job has automatically updated to being complete. Because the supplier has finished the job, dispatched it, we're transferring that information back over. We're updating our seller's system, completing the job. We're marking the purchase order as order complete. And currently, the only thing I have to do in here is update the status of this job to being ready, set to dispatch. Now, want to just make a little change because I just want to change this off being set to complete. So I'm going to put that back to finished production. And then I can update this now to be dispatched and save. From here, a couple of changes that we're doing now, and they're actually in the next version, they're in the V49 release of printIQ, is to be able to pick up that from that dispatch point. So we've done work around being able to do invoice by dispatch. So once the job is fully at a dispatched mode and everything's been done, and a couple of different options in the way that we do that, then we're able to automatically invoice at that level, and it will be able to complete the job, create an invoice for the job, email that invoice out, and mark that invoice as exported, and export it automatically into your accounting system. So it makes it, with bringing that flow into it, it makes it quite seamless and simple for the reseller. You know, it's very hands-off. Once the resellers accepted that job, uploaded artwork, everything can be seamless to get it into your supplier system. They manufacture it and they dispatch it, and then it comes back in and updates printIQ, creates your job as dispatched, creates your invoice, exports it out, and completes your job off the system. It's been very hands-off for the reseller once you've hit that level. Just to come back, so that's one flow of utilizing printIQ. Now, there's two more parts that I want to be able to show here, and they're more around the quoting stage. The production side of things is the same on every one of these options, so I just want to focus more at the quoting stage on a couple of different ways of utilizing the system. So I'll come back to home. We'll come back to quick quotes. I'll start again. So we've gone down the path of doing everything from inside here. And as I say, this was linking into our supplier's system and they're pulling through their data. Another approach to using IQ Link is to not necessarily be pulling that information through from their supplier, but it's setting up SPC products and having SPC products available in both systems and connected via the same product code. What I've got on here is different products and a different way and style of creating those. So when I come into these options, these are our SPCs, our simplified product creation is what it stands for. End of the day, it's a product that is based off a SKU. The SKU needs to match in both systems, so we're populating pricing that's coming through from the supplier, but it's not coming through from the directly connecting into the supplier at this point. What we're doing is we're pulling that information through and we can populate that based on a CSV upload. So all of these products here are all available. We've got single quantities, multiple versions. So I'll just come in and I'll grab 2 versions of this one and add that to the cart. While that's pricing, I'm just going to bring into play a spreadsheet just for a bit of boring side of things. But once we've generated the product as a spreadsheet or as an SPC, we have the pricing spreadsheet coming into play. And I'll just go full screen on that. Hopefully that reads okay. But just going through this a little bit. So we've got the product code set. We've got different variations of the different quantities, versions of the quantities, different prices. But when we come further along, we see under G, we've got different rules for different suppliers. So I've got a second supplier coming into the mix here who can give me options for 400, where supplier 1 could not. And we have different rates coming into play. We also have the ability to add in the retails as a priority job. So when you're using the priority job functionality and you're utilizing this, then we'll be populating our pricing to be sitting inside the, let's get that, inside the priority price columns. So once that's all imported, then I'll move that out to the side again. Same rules apply from our world. We're creating that quote. We haven't yet created a quote in the supplier's system. It's just once we go to checkout and we convert it into a job and we create the purchase order, that we would actually go ahead and create that quote and accept it at that point. The last way that we can utilize printIQ with IQ Link, come back to home, instead of utilizing quick quotes, is it's using a custom quote template called remote quote. And some of you may be used to that already and others may not. But when we come in to do a quick quote, same rules, I'll have a customer. I'm just going to use the template and we're going to scroll through, and I've got one here for remote quote. I can give it a title. And that's all I want to do. Now, sometimes with the connections that we do with IQ Link, we have, we're relying on utilizing the customers and the suppliers having a simplified session set up so you can use that side of things. But whilst they're actually doing that, if your supplier is making a quote directly for you, then you could actually grab that quote number that they've given you. And if you know your supplier utilizing this template, when we come in to add, we can grab the supplier, punch in the quote number, and search for it. Goes off and it finds all the information in that supplier system and bakes this detail through. So it's going to pull through the pricing. It's got a description. I've purposely left our description box here empty because I want to attach this into play, and it populates everything from their quote into ours. I then go through, create the outsource, and if I select the product, then on here we've got their pricing, our markups, and we proceed through. If I have a quick little look at our quote letter, it matches everything that they've got. So, we can obviously go in and modify the description if we need to, but we haven't done a lot to be able to get their quote to be pulled through directly into IQ. And same rules, once we turn around and accept this, then and have the purchase order created, then this will go and generate and accept that. It'll accept that quote and convert that into an order in their system. I think from my side, that covers what I wanted to show today and run through. I'll hand back over to Justin to come up with any of the Q&As. There's a few in the list I can see.
Yeah, there is. Thanks for that, Chris.
Hopefully it was easier to follow and clear.
Yeah, I think it's great.
So, yeah, it was great, Chris. What we'll do is we've got about 10 or 12 questions in there, so I'll just run through the list. The first one, Chris, is that the challenge with this process might not need to add job operations. Adding a basic margin is not sufficient. It's too simplistic. Can you do more with the margin, or is it just a basic margin that you can add? Or
if we go and have a look at any of those quotes, to start, it would be the basic margin by far coming into play. If I look at this as it's opened up, we've got the ability to obviously still adjust that from our base. So initially we're going to pull through whatever's set on our wholesale and our retail prices. But if you wanted to modify that as you were going, then you've got the same flexibility of coming in and adding more, giving it a different discount, or putting any of the target options into play as we currently have. But by default, it will come in with what is set off the price lists for that product.
Rightio. Chris, which site does the freight come from? Is it in your site or is it pulling the freight from the supplier site?
So the good question. I'm pretty sure from memory the freight options your from your supplier's site. So it's pulling those details over and we're pushing those back in once we've generated that job.
Rightio. I can answer the next one. Does the supplier have to be using printIQ? Absolutely. Both customer and supplier have to be on using printIQ.
The
Sorry, you go, mate.
The smarts are in the integration, right?
Yeah.
Because we can have some that utilize and use printIQ as a manufacturing world. So just to add to yours in there, Justin, because the other parts of it as well with this also the supplier module side of things. If your supplier doesn't necessarily use printIQ for their day-to-day product, but if you generate items and purchase orders this way, then you can request that they have a login to printIQ and be a supplier login, and then they can be accessing the outsource purchase order board or the outsource boards and be looking at the amount of orders that they've got to be able to work for. So they'll be getting access to the outsource request board, but that's just gives them a snippet of it. But by far the key functionality is back and forth between two active systems.
Right. Yeah. So there's a bit of, I guess, a bit of a follow up to that one as well. So, if you purchase the IQ Link module, does it mean I can reach out to any IQ user and link with them? So I'm not a big fan of just publishing, a user list. So I think what I will do is take some homework from this and download who has link, and then put together a spreadsheet of, who's happy to be contacted and the contact details and everything, so that we can then publish a list. I just want to be 100% sure. I mean, if they've brought link, they've probably brought it for the reason of, linking with other people. But I just want to, for my own sake, just contact them all and make sure that they're happy to be shared. So I will take that as a to do from this meeting. Okay, so the next question: how's the pricing work? Is it fixed pricing or is it based on here price lists? And is it easy to upgrade the pricing if there's a change?
If it's the what I class as a traditional link, which was the first way of style of doing it, where we're pulling through the pricing directly from the supplier system, it's on the supplier to own that those pricing updates. So the reseller, you don't have to change anything in your system when you're doing it this particular way. But if the supplier has an update, then I assume you would have a agreed pricing structure and strategy with them. And if you do have fixed pricing options from them, then that will be what comes through. But if it is just ad hoc and as it is today, then whatever they have in their system will be generated through. So if they do a pricing update, then you would get that increase straight away.
Rightio. Okay, so Chris, the display it's a simplified product, or it is built in simplified product. So if you have link, can you show the IQ Link product on Smart Site via your website?
I would need to come back on that one. I'm not 100% certain if the link works in Smart Site.
Rightio.
I can't see why it wouldn't, because from your system, from the reseller system, you've still got a Trino, a product category that you're creating. So if you were utilizing Smart Site, then in the functionality of Smart Site, you have to put an ID for that product category. So it would just be demonstrating that. So I'm pretty sure it would work. You just need to go.
We'll just clarify. Yep. Okay. Will a PO automatically be generated by default, or is this something that we need to enable set up?
It's setup based.
Yep.
So yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
so they can just contact through a desk ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's optional for people if they want to do that right now even without IQ Link.
Radio. For the SPC option, what happens if the pricing changes on the supplier's side?
Then they would need to be updated in the spreadsheet and re-imported
spreadsheet.
Into the reseller side.
Okay. Next question. How can we link to different suppliers, or is it something that printIQ team need to do?
We would assist with the setup of
And again, that's just
IQ.
through a desk ticket?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I think what's coming out of this, Justin, we, as a takeaway for printIQ, we need to reach out to all our customers and who wants to be on an approved printIQ, user list, I guess, so that we can publish that and share it with customers. I mean, we want to just make sure that everyone's happy for us to publish who's on our customer base. We've got 100 and up to 145 customers in Australia and New Zealand at the moment. So we've got a lot of customers using printIQ. So there's lots of opportunity out there, and but it's just making sure that people are happy to be on an approved list.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I said that I'll take that take that as a takeaway from this. Yep. Chris, when a customer orders a product via link, does it mean that the product is dispatched from the supplier? And does it obviously shows the supplier the address details?
Yeah, it can be either. So by choice, when we set up the product, we have an option to choose whether we want to have it set to go deliver to me, as in back to my factory, or we want to deliver to my customer. So if I just show that, it's just a tick box in regards to the setup, and this is probably going a bit lower level, but this is the back end side of the system for those that haven't seen it. Just being able to come in and connect into a product. So when we can create inside that link operations and configurations, we have the shipping options to go deliver to me, my customer, or deliver to me. So depending on which one I've chosen there by default, would come in automatically, especially if I was doing it fully automated and it was hands off. If I wanted to get the purchase order to get to a certain point, and perhaps I wanted to create the purchase order but not send the purchase order off automatically, then once I'm in purchase order mode in the job, then I can have a look at that ability and I can update it at that point still and decide whether I might change my mind and I might go, actually, I want that to go directly to the customer at this point. So then I can override that before I send it off and create the job in the supplier system.
Okay, a couple more left, Chris. The remote quote option seems like the easiest option with no setup of products. Is that correct?
Yeah, still a little bit of setup, but what you're needing to do is set up the product categories where we just were, rather than setting up presses, processes, stocks, inks, operations, and have a whole heap of pricing attached to all of those. So this part of the system, we're able to generate, and we can create those via import exports. So we'd obviously, again, we would assist with a bit of the setup here and guide you how to create these, and then let you fill your boots on which products you're wanting to have access to. Because again, it could be that the supplier may do multiple things and they're only going to give you access to certain products. So you've got to be able to have that agreement with them that you can sell that on behalf of and be able to pull that through. But once this part here is mainly done, then the rest of it is a lot seamless.
Right, yeah. And like the last question, what's the cost of the IQ Link module? It's probably best to reach out to me directly for that, because it's different whether you are on the perpetual license or a SaaS. So yeah, whether you're paying it monthly or outright. So best just to reach out to me at justin@printiq.com, and I'll have a look at what your current setup is and give you some pricing. So that's it, Chris, for the questions.
Perfect.
Excellent. I might just reach grab the share, Chris, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for that.
Just back over to yourself, Justin, before to wrap
Yeah.
up.
So look, next steps, you can reach out to me, as I said, if it's pricing that you want, or if you want to get a more customized demo, or if you're coming to Pack Print next week up in Sydney, come and see us on the stand, and we're happy to take you through, Link on the stand, and yeah, we can scope out the solution for you and set you up. And hopefully, in the next week or so, I will have had the chance to get together that list of Link users and be able to publish that.
Awesome.
Cool. Fantastic. All right. Well, we've gone through the Q&A. I think there's some really good questions in there. There's some, we'll reach out. There's some questions that came up from quite a few people, so we'll probably reach out direct if they're to follow those ones up that need a bit more detail. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you everyone for joining.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks all.
See you.
Yeah.